All right, guys, welcome to the channel. Thanks for joining me. I'm in a 2023 Tesla Model X long range. I owned a 2016 Model X for about a year, and this is kind of remind me how much I really like the Model X. It's such a great car. I have a Cybertruck and two Model Ys. This I've just been driving for a little bit here, but I want to kind of go over, just kind of give you guys like, if you're looking or interested in the Model X, kind of go over like the top things that I like and then the top things that I dislike about this, because this does have some quirks. It does have some things about it you kind of want to know, and you really don't know unless you've owned it how it goes. So let's go in. I want to go into the top things that I really like about the Model X, and then we'll do the dislikes afterwards. Now, quick information on like the generations of the Model X. Model X came out in 2016. There's been different trim levels, different battery sizes, performance, long range. So there's a lot of different variants. So from like 2016 to 2021, that was kind of the same generation of car. The interior looked the same. 2022, Tesla redesigned is mainly like an interior refresh of the car. The exterior dimension size, it's the same size. So from 2016 to 2025 right now, the car is the same size dimension-wise. This is one of the options. If you have, like, let's say you have some kids and you're carrying around kids or passengers on a regular basis, and you want the car that's going to give you the most room, the most flexibility, the most seating, this comes in either a 5-seat, 6-seat, or 7-seat. So it has like the most versatile type seating configuration you can get. This one's a 6-seater version. I really like the 6-seater. My wife and I have 4 kids, and I had a 6-seater on my 2016 90D, and it was great because, you know, it just fit all the kids. It can fit great with kids in car seats. I think that's a great advantage. So guys, so whether you're looking at like a brand new one, 2025, you're ordering a new one, or you're looking at a 2016, this is probably helpful because a lot of the likes and dislikes are going to be universal across the entire Model X lineup throughout all the years. So first thing I like about it is the size. It is bigger than the Model Y. It's bigger. You're going to have more room in the second row. Second row passengers have more room. You have more room in the third row for third row passengers. It also has more storage. It has a bigger front trunk, has a bigger rear trunk and sub-trunk area than the Model Y. And I'm guessing if you're looking at this car, you're probably also looking at Model Y as well. Model Y is half the price of this car, though. This car has the most room of all the Teslas available when it comes to hauling passengers and cargo. Second thing I want to point out, this huge windshield is really awesome, how it comes up over my head. I mean, it comes up to here. I mean, it's it looks like a big fishbowl. It's like you're in a spaceship. I really like that. That's a really cool feature of this car, and just having that openness, especially when you want to look up at things in the sky, you can see them really well. It just makes it really bright, really airy, really open. Gives you a ton of headroom here as well. So if you're a really tall person, this is a great option because you have all of this headroom. You've got a lot of leg room as well. I'm going to bundle these next two into the same category, and that's acceleration and range. Newer Model X's, they come in basically 2 trims, long range or plaid. Long range, you're going to get the most range. It's close to 340 miles, like 335, it's close to that. So I really like the range, especially if you stick to the base 20-inch wheels, which this car has. So I would stick with that configuration. It's going to give you the best ride, and it's going to give you the most range. So I like the range. And I like the acceleration, the base acceleration in this car with being just the long-range version, 3.8 seconds, 0 to 60. Plenty of acceleration and a lot of range, especially if you're going to take this on road trips. You're going to drive this a lot. That 338 mile range is going to be great. Also, I really like this new dash layout. Now, this was new for 2022 where it has the screen like this. This is like the Model Y3. And then you also have the gauge cluster here along with this yoke steering wheel. I like this layout. This really gives you a lot of great options. You know, you have all your speed and FSD information here. You've got all your map stuff here. You know, all of your entertainment stuff, music, all that's here. And then you have all like the pertinent driving stuff here. So I like the 2 screens. I like how this looks. One's in the cream color, so it's the cream leather. And then it has like, you know, some silver accents with wood and then black. So I think it has like a really nice look to it. It has a really premium feel to the interior. This is true from 2016 until now. The suspension has been air ride suspension, so it's got air suspension, which is really nice. What that gives you on these 20-inch wheels with air suspension, it gives you like a really nice plush ride. You're not feeling the bumps as much. It rides a lot better. I mean, it's It's significantly better than the Model Y, and it should be for double the cost, right? It should be. The suspension gives you just a really nice cushioned ride where you're not having to feel every bump. You're not jostled around like you are on the Model Y. The ride really is fantastic in this car. So here's something that I don't like. This should be obvious. I don't think anyone likes this, and that is the price new. This car, as configured, black cream interior and long range, is $95,000 right now in March of 2025. It's extremely expensive. Oh, and it's the 6-seater. So I think it's an expensive vehicle. I don't like the huge depreciation that these cars have incurred. Now, I wouldn't like it if I bought one new and currently owned one, but I guess on the flip side of that is if you're a buyer, you can buy a 22, 23 long range in the $40,000 range, $45,000 to $49,000. There's a bunch nationwide in that price range. That really makes it competitive when it comes to the Model Y. If you're looking at a new Model Y, I'd look at a Model X that's a few years old, because you do get a lot more value and a lot more features probably for a similar price. So it is expensive. New, they're going to depreciate heavily, but you can get a great deal on these used right now, and so I would advocate looking at a used one just a couple years old. You get them almost half price, which is pretty crazy. Don't like the yoke, but you can get this with a steering wheel. That is an option. You can get the Tesla if you have one. If you find one with a yoke, a used one, you can go to the Tesla service center and they'll swap in a round one and program it, and you're good to go. So that's not a huge deal. I also don't like how the horn is a button on here. It's not, the airbag, which I wish the horn was the airbag like it is on the Cybertruck. They've changed that. This is also a big thing, guys. I did a couple videos of this when I had my Model X, but I'll leave a link to these videos if you're curious. But the Falcon doors, I'm not a fan of, nor am I a fan of these front doors. These front doors open up kind of like automatically. You can like push a button and the front doors open up. You can put your foot on the brake. Kind of the one positive side to it, though, is you can put your foot on the brake and the driver's side door closes, which is kind of nice. You don't have to reach over and close it. You just put your foot on the brake and it closes for you. That's the only positive I like about that. The Falcon doors, they sometimes don't open up all the way. They sense phantom objects, so they only open up half the way. They can hit you. I've been hit by the Falcon doors several times. You got to be very careful around them. If you have kids opening up, closing them, they could get in the way. They could get hit by them. They could get pinched by them. The doors also cause a little bit of body squeak. Because those doors open up all the way, you lose some of that. I think you lose some of that rigidity of the roof structure that you have in other cars, and there's some creaks that you get when you're going over speed bumps, railroad tracks, entering driveways. You just hear creaks and things coming from the car because it's not like a solid piece up top. It's got these doors that are cut out of the sides and the top, and so I don't like the doors. I don't like the Falcon doors. I don't like how they come up. I don't like, they're kind of too flashy too. It's like Tesla overcomplicated these doors. They're cool looking, but that's about the extent. Now, the only instance where I think the doors are useful, and that is if you have kids in a car seat where you've got to put them in, like an infant or a really young child, where you got to put them into a harness, things like that. You can get into that row very easily and get them in and out of the car seat very easily. So that is nice. But in every other instances, they're just they're hard to deal with. You got to be careful with them. They're problematic. You're going to have an in and out of the Tesla service center getting them fixed. Just not a fan of them. Even though I really like the windshield in this, look at how big of a windshield visor or a visor you get. The visor is super small. It's not very big. It magnetics to right here, but like if you've got the sun, you have all this glass above you here, and if you have the sun up here and it's really being down on you, it really can get hot and kind of annoying. The sun is coming through the glass, and these visors are very small compared to the size of the glass, and so I don't like the sun visors in here. They're a little too small. Even though this is a 6-seater vehicle, the third row seat room is kind of tight. If you have bigger kids, bigger people, you're going to be hauling 6 people around all the time. It's going to be a tight squeeze. This isn't like a minivan. This is a tighter squeeze on the third row. So just be aware of that. This is Tesla's best option that they have for 6 seats or a 7-seater. It's their best option, but it's not the best option out there. Bigger SUVs and minivans are probably going to be better legroom-wise, storage-wise, for full-time use of the third row. So guys, that's kind of like just an overview of the things that like I initially see and feel when I drive this car, you know, things I like, dislike. Overall, though, I really do like the car. I would be in the market for one of these, especially like I talked about, guys, price-wise, it's a great value to buy one of these used. I wouldn't be a buyer new. $95,000 for this car, I don't think it's worth it. I'd buy a used one for 45 grand though. That's got 50, 60, 70,000 miles on it all day long, because that's a great deal. That's half the price of a new one for just a couple-year-old vehicle. So there's some great deals on this used. There's even better deals on the older ones. So older ones are 2021 and older. I would say the next group to consider would be like the 2020 to 2021s. Those are the last couple years of production of the last version. They have the Raven. It's the Raven upgrade. They have a lot of upgrades over the older versions of that. So I would say if the 2022s or 2023s and 2024s are over your budget, look at the 2020s, the 2021s. Those would be a good option. Probably be a little bit less. Those you can find those in the $30,000 range. And then we're seeing like 2019s to 2016s. We're seeing those as low as in the high teens, $17,000, $18,000. A lot of those prices you're seeing online are for that have like the used EV tax credit already built into it. Those are all going to be out of warranty. So obviously you need to consider that. Like, do you buy really like a 2016 that's out of warranty, that's $20,000 that you can get with the tax credit? Or do you buy one that's a little bit newer that's got a couple more years left on the drivetrain warranty? That's really where you want to be protecting get yourself against, is if you've got to replace a motor, you got to replace the battery. Those are expensive, and if the car's still under warranty, that's going to give you a safety net on those. So guys, thanks for watching the video. Leave your comments down below. I'm curious to see what you think. Do you agree or disagree with some of my likes or dislikes? What are your likes and dislikes of this car? Leave those down below. Guys, thanks for watching the video. Hit that thumbs up, subscribe. See you in the next one. Thanks.